the fate.
This is the way. Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Tells me when you'll love this.
Hello, critics, non-critics, and friends. Welcome to the Film Optix podcast, where we take a glance into blockbusters, indie films, and everything in between. I'm your host, Christian, and as always, I'm joined by my partner in film, Devin. And today, we're eager to give our spoiler thoughts on the first two episodes of the Ahsoka series, now streaming on Disney+. And before we begin today's episode, you can listen to our podcast on podcast platforms around the internet. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. And if you are a new or seasoned listener to the show, we would love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads at Film Optix. That is Optix with an X. Or you can email us at filmoptix@gmail.com for any movie-related questions. Devin, what's going on? You've been moving, helping your dad move. Have you been able to watch any Star Wars Rebels content at all?
I have not watched any Star Wars animated content at all, except for Star Wars Visions. When it looks that ugly, it's just so hard.
Whoa!
I knew I had to throw some salt at it.
Whoa! Hold on there. All right, I'm gonna say for Star Wars Rebels, I love Rebels. I love the Clone Wars. When it comes to Rebels, it's not my favorite animation style, but I can't go that far as to call it ugly. Oh, that just hurts. Because I will say, once I, got into it when it was releasing, I was like, all right, like the art direction or, the vision, the art style for these characters, it's very simplistic. I mean, come on, for Rebels, it debuted on Disney+. So I can't expect too much, but it's pretty good. It's not the best, but like it works for what it is. But it's about the story, the character, the written dialogue, Dave Filoni. It's amazing, Devin. At least you got to watch like a recap video or something, at least. Or maybe just skip all the way to the end, watch the very last season, and be like, I'm all caught up. Watch the first episode, and then watch watch the first episode of the first season, and then watch just the last season.
We'll see. I'll watch some kind of recap because I'm definitely not going to be diving in, I don't think. But it's also kind of cool to go in blind. Like it's kind of a thing we've been doing, a little dynamic, one person. Yeah. Or either of us has seen something or one hasn't, and we kind of compare the two viewing experiences. Because they do have to kind of cater to people who haven't seen it. Like as much, obviously, if you have seen it, there's more you can get out of it, but these do have to make it at least watchable.
That's true. There's so many things about, this is probably outside of The Mandalorian. Actually, I would say in general, when it comes to Star Wars TV content, actually, no, I'd say outside of Obi-Wan Kenobi, because I really, really wanted to like it. I thought it was a great show. Could have been a movie. That's just my general consensus of that. I've been looking forward to this for so long because Ahsoka is my favorite character in Star Wars ever. It goes between Anakin and Ahsoka. They are 1A and 1B. They are both sharing the number one spot. Those are my two favorite Star Wars characters ever. And Ahsoka I'm so happy that more people are starting to recognize and get familiar with the character, because for the longest time she was known as just Anakin's little annoying apprentice. I'm not sure if you watched the Clone Wars movie, but she's running around saying "Sky Guy, Sky Guy," and it's funny. It's a little cringy, but it's actually pretty funny now looking back on it altogether. But I'm very excited that we're talking about the first two episodes of Ahsoka that we were actually able to watch early. It kind of helped us out because, if you've listened to our previous episode, we hit a little bit of a lull. A few life events happened, but we are back. It's really only been a week since we released an episode, maybe 2 weeks since we have recorded an episode. So we are kind of back in action here. So yeah, it's just, like we went home for a while, kind of just hung out with the crew, hung out with the family. And yeah, we're back. We're trying to figure out times to record this episode, but hey, we're here. The first few episodes just started streaming 2 days ago. So it's
yesterday, I believe.
Yesterday. Oh my gosh. See, I'm getting
last
my
night
days.
To be exact.
Last night. Okay. So yeah, boom. Well, look, we're already back on track. As of August 23rd, 2023, we're already back on track. But as we mentioned before, we're going to be covering the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka. This is going to be spoilers just because it's a TV show. And it's always weird when, people will spoil TV shows all day until the cows come home. But when it comes to a movie, it is a different ball game. So for TV, we're going to be giving our spoiler-free reviews of the first 2 episodes, which are titled Part 1, which is Episode 1, titled Master and Apprentice. Part 2, Episode 2 is titled Toil and Trouble. I like this, Master and Apprentice, Toil and Trouble. So I'm hoping we get one called Anakin and Ahsoka. I will lose my mind. I will lose it. I will lose
Double
it.
A.
I know. Get some AAA action in there. But Devin, we're just going to start. We're going to dive right on in. Hit me with your initial reactions to these first 2 episodes, because we're actually able to watch it together, which is nice. We don't really get to do that a lot. But since this is really your first not your first introduction to Ahsoka, but your first introduction to the Rebels crew as well. So give me your initial reactions on these first 2 episodes.
Yeah, going in mostly blind. I mean, obviously, Ahsoka, the Rosario Dawson version, was in The Mandalorian and kind of got her introduction there into the live-action Star Wars universe. But as far as the rest of the Rebels crew, definitely all pretty new to me, which is kind of exciting. Like Sabine Wren, I told you she kind of reminds me of like Faye Valentine. She's got those vibes going on for me. Hera, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who is great to look at and also an amazing actress. And then we also have rest in peace to Ray Stevenson. He kind of plays like this badass like Sith Jedi in this series so far. These first 2 episodes, he's been really cool because he's just such a giant hulking like human. It's kind of intimidating, but he's been really good. And then David Tennant plays Hu Yang, which is a droid of Ahsoka's, I believe. And we even got some Krusty Krab crews here with Clancy Brown playing a governor, which was funny to see. But overall, as far as someone who's going in mostly blind, it was definitely enjoyable for me. Just getting these introductions to these characters for the first time. Obviously, it's not going to hit as hard for me because I haven't watched Rebels, but for the diehards, I know it's already been like a dream come true for everyone, including yourself. I could tell by some of the reactions you had that it was pumping you up just seeing certain characters and certain interactions. But for me, it's definitely been cool to see because Ahsoka is a really cool character. It's so cool that they're able to nail down these live action like costumes and makeup and everything because it looks really good. Like all these characters look just like their counterparts from what I can tell. So they definitely nailed that, which is good. As far as the story goes, it seems like it's a really good start so far. A lot of characters coming in and doing their thing, and it's fun to see. Classic Star Wars lightsaber battles here with some newer like samurai type swings on things, and it's been a good time overall. Looking forward to the rest of it.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, man. I'm glad that you were able to enjoy it. Obviously with me, it's a little bit more because I've seen Rebels and I love that show. But the creator of the show is Dave Filoni because Ahsoka is Dave Filoni's baby, and Dave Filoni is one of the few people on this earth who truly understands Star Wars. And anytime that he is attached to a project, whether he's written or directed something Star Wars related, it just blows everything out of the water. Of recent memory, I would say, ironically, it was during the Book of Boba Fett. extravaganza. I think he is the one who, I think he at least directed the episode, The Return of the Mandalorian. And that was like one of the most peak Star Wars moments ever because it just encompassed everything that people love about Star Wars. And I think Ahsoka, the series, is off to a phenomenal start. You can view it as a 5th season of Rebels, only in live action, or you can kind of view it as, I guess you could technically say, not really Clone Wars, but just overall just a part of Ahsoka's journey when it comes to this series. And, you know, obviously we've already seen Rosario Dawson. Shout out to my birthday twin, Rosario Dawson, out there. She does a fantastic job as ever as Ahsoka. But, you know, within these first 2 episodes, I think it does a great job of having that balance for newcomers and for longtime fans. Because like Devin said, you know, when you saw Hera on screen for the first time in live action, you see Chopper there for a bit. And of course you have Sabine Wren, quite possibly my favorite character from the Star Wars Rebels crew. And I'm not sure if you noticed, Devin, but we actually saw Zeb in, oh my gosh, I think it was in an episode of The Mandalorian. He was like the big, I guess, cat-like looking guy. He was there for a bit. But overall, it's, you know, this, and I feel like I'm railing here. I do apologize, but it's like so perfect. You know, you have these episodes where, you know, at the end of Rebels, I'm just going to spoil it because I'm sorry. Just for that altogether, the end of Rebels, Ezra goes missing. He's trying to take down Admiral Thrawn. There's like these space whales that can travel through hyperspace. And there's like this rumor that, you know, the reason why people can travel through hyperspace is that they're using the Force to travel through. And yeah, Ezra transports himself and Admiral Thrawn to like supposedly one of the unknown regions, but nobody knows where he is. So this is literally like a pickup from season 4 of Rebels. And it's done so well. You know, Sabine at the end of Rebels was tasked to find Ezra because Ezra left behind a little message saying that, you know, she is like his only hope, essentially. There's a little bit of a romantic vibe between them as well in Rebels, but I think transitioning this crew from the animated sequences to live action was done fairly seamlessly. I know some people are probably going to have an issue with Sabine being Ahsoka's apprentice, and I'm not going to lie, I was a little confused at first, and that happens in episode 1. But a lot of time has passed between those two, between season 4 of Rebels and now with the Ahsoka series. You see Sabine with super long hair, which we have never seen before. And, you know, she was underneath Ahsoka's tutelage, but not necessarily bad blood, but we can call it creative differences, led them to go astray. And essentially, this is the entire mission of, you know, after the fall of the Galactic Empire, you know, Ahsoka is out there, Ahsoka Tano is out there investigating an emerging threat, which is Thrawn. There's a map that leads to Thrawn, because there's always a map that leads to someone in Star Wars. Like there's a map to Thrawn. Where is he? We don't know. We need to unlock this mechanism to figure out where he's at. And yeah, it's so great. And I'm so excited to see what comes next, because we get new villains. I guess you can call them Sith Lords, or more so Inquisitors almost, but they're not necessarily hunting Jedi right now. But we get to see more of Sabine using Ezra's green lightsaber. She gets her butt whooped, but she used it. But she makes a point to say that she doesn't have the same abilities as Ezra. So they haven't really necessarily explained whether she is Force sensitive or not, or if she's just being trained to use a lightsaber. And I'm sorry that was a long rant, Devin. I
mean, if there's ever a time to go off on a rant, this is the time, because this is all your fandom basically in this series.
I guess so. But what I'm really trying to say is, as I digress, I enjoyed these 2 episodes. I think it's smart that Disney is releasing 2 episodes instead of 1. Not saying that I would have had the same feeling as I do now if I just watched the first episode. But when it comes to Ahsoka and what Disney has done in the past, I think some episodes just work better together to release together because it tells a more complete story. Because by the end of part 2, that is where the real story begins. You get to see, Sabine is back in her element. She has her armor on. She's cut her hair. And it's time to go find Ezra and Admiral Thrawn, which is really great. So the first episode runs around 57 minutes. And then part 2, second episode, runs around 44 minutes. So I think there are just some episodes that complement each other so well that you just got to release it all at once. Or if you're like The Last of Us and you just have one super juicy episode when it comes to Frank and Bill, just give us a feature-length film, and then we'll go back to our happy lives all together. But yeah, Dev, did you have anything else you wanted to mention about these first 2 episodes? Anything that you're interested that might happen that you think is going to happen, or will this show finally prompt you to at least maybe not the first season, watch, I don't know, the Clone Wars or something? I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see about that. But as far as what we're looking forward to, you did mention Sabine Wren being kind of the Padawan for Ahsoka. I do think that's a cool dynamic. Not knowing these characters too well. Obviously, it's going to be cool to see more Hera and what she's all about, because we didn't get much of her these first 2 episodes. A lot of telegram Hera in the second episode, where she's not in person, just kind of being a part of this other crew without actually being there. And I'm very curious to see if these villains that we have are Inquisitors or not.
Because they mention that there's always 2. And when they say this, there's always 2, obviously for all Star Wars fans out there, that is the rule, that is the Sith rule, the rule of 2. There's always 1 master and 1 apprentice. And the apprentice and the master are always in this weird tangled web where the apprentice is trying to overthrow the Sith Lord, and then the Sith Lord is trying to hold on to its power. It wasn't always like that, but that is in this era of Star Wars where it's always the rule of 2. But yeah, I'm interested to see if they are Inquisitors, because we saw Inquisitors in the Obi-Wan series, and I wasn't super crazy about those Inquisitors, but these so-called Inquisitors, I'm really digging. And they could just be, just 2 Sith Lords running through there. But during this time, Darth Vader is he dead? Is he dead? No, he's dead.
Don't even ask me about anything Star Wars timelines. I just don't even try anymore.
No, he is. Ooh, I can't remember. I'm sorry. I'm going off on a tangent. Anyway, I'm very interested to see where these 2 Sith lords, or Sith dark users, are going to go, because I love just the production. This seems like a show this has been in production for a very long time, and it shows. The product design looks fantastic. Sabine Wren's armor doesn't look fantastic. Oh, I'm sorry. Sabine Wren's armor looks fantastic. Devin does not like Sabine Wren's short haircut.
I missed the long hair already. We only had it for an episode.
You got to watch Rebels, man. You'll love the short hair. She has she's so awesome in Rebels. But, with her wielding a lightsaber, she is becoming one of those Mandalorians when it comes to the legend of like the dark saber, where it was wielded by a Mandalorian / Jedi, could get the same vibes from Sabine. That she's got to learn how to use that lightsaber a little bit more. But I just want to say a testament to Ahsoka as Rosario Dawson. I think they've done a great job of transitioning that character from the animation space to live action. And, it's Ahsoka is just Ahsoka. She's calm, she's cool, she's collected, she thinks with her head. She had the best master. Very calculated, had not one of the best Jedi masters under her wing, or that she was under his wing of Anakin Skywalker. And you can definitely see the dynamic between Sabine and Ahsoka. It's very much a foil between Ahsoka and Anakin. And I'm not sure if you actually noticed, there's a few little parallels, especially from the Phantom Menace, where when Sabine gets rocked with that lightsaber, she kind of gets hit the same way that Darth Maul got. Not Darth Maul, but Qui-Gon Jinn got stabbed by Darth Maul. And I was like, ooh, that's a nice one. It just, ouchie. I don't know. Yeah, I know. It's soon as Sabine got snagged, I was like, I know this is not the end for the character, but it still hurt me pretty badly that she just got rocked by this like random Sith woman. And like, they're so mysterious and whatnot, but I'm excited for more. I'm excited for more. But was there anything else you wanted to mention before we get into? We're just going to give our final thoughts, and we're not going to do ratings for television, as we said on multiple episodes. We're going to wait until the entire series is over. I'm not sure if we're going to cover this week to week or not. Maybe not. It just depends on our schedule and depends on how many other movies are out there. But if we don't cover this week to week, we're definitely going to be doing the same as we've done for like Mandalorian season 3, where we watch the first 2 episodes of the first episode. Then we just do a major recap or breakdown after the series finale is over. But Devin, give your final thoughts for Ahsoka.
Yeah, overall, definitely enjoyable first 2 episodes. I'm excited to see where they go from here. I think they did a good job of keeping it non-Rebel viewer friendly, where I went in and was able to kind of pick up on most things and not be too lost in the sauce like with some other things that we've seen before.
I agree. That is one thing that this show does very well, is that you don't have to watch 77 episodes. Oh, that's what he was talking. Okay. So I was scrolling through Twitter, and Jared Buckendahl said something along the lines. He's a great guy. Does fantastic content creation. He had said, I didn't realize he was talking about Ahsoka and Star Wars Rebels, but now I totally get it. He said that I don't need to watch 77 episodes of a television show in order to understand another television show, which in retrospect, that is a lot more time than you are watch. Like, oh, you got to watch this movie to understand this movie. I do understand now what he was talking about at first. I was like, what is he referencing? Like, oh, Rebels. Yeah. So you don't have to watch Rebels to watch Ahsoka. You don't at all. Like, Devin has not. He was easily able to find out what was going on in the story. And I commend Dave Filoni for doing that, because, when it comes to like these shared universes nowadays, it's like, oh, TV shows have to be connected to movies and movies, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, yes and no. But the fact that this is called Ahsoka tells you, like, right then and there that you should. It's not called Star Wars Rebels Season 5. It's called Ahsoka, which means that you can pick up on Ahsoka and enjoy the journey. And if you are ever so prompted to go back and watch Star Wars Rebels, you can definitely do that. I think that's a great plus. But yeah, it's great that fans and casual viewers can watch this in harmony. Hopefully, we'll see. It is Star Wars, so we don't really know what the fandom's gonna, what the toxic fandom's gonna bring. But with all that said, we pretty much enjoyed this so far. Very excited to kind of move forward with each episode. But that does conclude today's episode. If you enjoyed what you heard on today's episode, make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your preferred podcast platform of choice, and make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at Film Optix. That is Optix with an X. And don't forget to share an episode of our podcast with a fellow movie lover, whether it be your mother, your brother, or your significant other. Spread the love of the Film Optix podcast with a movie lover in need. And now let's take a sneak peek of what's coming up next on the show and what you can listen to that is out right now. So as of right now, we're going to be covering Bottoms for this coming up week within the last, I believe, the last week of August. It's crazy. That's going to be our last one for the week of August, or excuse me, the month of August. And then it's on to September on a Friday, September 1st. So outside of Bottoms, there's a lot more coming out in September. We'll keep you posted on social media. It's going to be something. I just don't know what yet exactly. I haven't had a chance to look at the schedule. I had a few personal things that to take care of. So outside of that, you can now listen to our Blue Beetle review that will be out, or actually at the same time as this review. It's going to drop both at once because we gotta stay up to date. We can't fall too far behind. So you can listen to our Blue Beetle spoiler-free review, as well as our The Last Voyage of the Demeter review, and our spoiler and non-spoiler reviews of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Those are two separate reviews, spoiler and non-spoiler all together. And with all that said, again, thank you all for listening. If you enjoy the show, please take a moment to leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and stay connected with us on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads, not Threads, whatever. To stay in the know for all the latest updates, you can follow us on all those social media platforms. I'm Christian, and that was Devin signing off. And remember, life is like a movie. So go out there and make it a blockbuster. And may the Force be with you.
Peace.